Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Kevin Jarita, and today on the video cast here, we have Dr. Ryan Doyle. And I want to first say a few things about Doc here. And so I personally met him just a few weeks ago, and he helped me walk through a few things in my life. And I know he is part of a mentor group called Men of Iron. And I participated in a 30-day challenge, and it was about the being, body, business, and I know what I mean, and balance.
Wow.
Those are the four things. Boy, gotta wire that in some more. And so I got him on today for everybody here because he's got a world of wisdom inside of his mind there, and he's doing work for himself now. He's not just teaching; he's also being taught. So this is something I greatly respect because I also have a few mentors in my life, and I use that to help the people in my life, my patients, my friends, and my family. So, Doc, thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about where you're living these days, what you're doing in your professional career, and then, of course, what you're doing in the other areas of your life.
Well, thank you for having me on, Doc. I mean, I'll nutshell this as much as Ryan Doyle is able to nutshell things, and I'm not known for that, so I'll do my best.
Well, then we're in a good spot.
Right? Well, I live in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I run a wonderful chiropractic business here called BackFit, and we help a lot of people. We've done very, very well with our business. What my focus, though, in the last little while has been is a couple years ago, I noticed that I was just like a lot of us, and like what I said to you is we hit this midlife triangle of chaos. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I define that as busy with work, married, and kids. It's just a lot going on. And that doesn't mean that there's not other things to complicate the issue, but it means that there's a lot going on. And what I've observed, and this was mainly me first, I observed this in me, and then now I've realized I'm not alone in this, is we become very unilateral in our focus. We focus very, very hard on our work and producing for our families, etc. But we let go of fulfillment. We let go of our relationships. We let go of our bodies. And before we know it, something is breaking down or burning down. And that happened to me a couple of years ago where, I got pretty close to a nervous breakdown. I just thought that I just had to keep working harder and harder and harder and harder. I thought I was alone in this because I wasn't noticing it in my immediate cohort. So I thought I was the only one going, pardon my French, but batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And then what I realized is, I went down and did Warrior Week with Garrett J. White, and then I have since become a certified trainer, and now I help to coach other business parents, as I like to say, to lead a four-dimensional life and to constructively actualize expansion, not just in business. It's still important that we produce, but also to constructively actualize and create expansion in your being and fulfillment on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, in your family and in your relationships and in your body. Because the reality of it is that when we let one of those things go, it will light a fire that will pull us back from working on the things that we want to go and work on. And one of the biggest things that I see happening to so many of us, and this isn't just men, this is women as well, what happens is we stop working on our relationships. We stop working on fulfillment. We stop measuring them. In fact, if I ask most men if they can measure their business KPIs, most men can tell me what those are. Even within their body, they can tell me what their fitness levels are, how much they can bench press, how fast they can run. But if I ask them how do they measure fulfillment and measure their marriages and their relationships, they don't have a clue. In fact, they just assume. And in our world, Doc, that's the same as treating a patient and determining the success of your outcomes based on how they feel. And we all know that subjectivity is important, but the reality of it is if I had cancer or if I had a disc herniation in my back, objective experience is such a tiny little piece of it that we actually need objective measures. But we don't do this for our being and fulfillment. We don't do this in our marriages very well. And that's one of the things that I like to coach into my docs and into my into the people that I coach is I like to have metrics so that we can actually work on expanding, growing, and improving these things. And my entry point is being. If we do not understand how to constructively actualize fulfillment and what our own unique definition of success is, we just keep running on a treadmill and we go up and we go down and we go up and we go down. It's like a marriage. It goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. Business goes up and it goes down. But if you have no way of measuring it or tactically improving it, it gets hard, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think what your message is so poignant for today. I literally just before we got on, I posted in one of my Instagram channels, and of course I'm hashtagging and hashtag rise and grind. And now I'm laughing because essentially this is what is destroying the things that really matter most in our lives, our relationships, our personal fulfillment and enjoyments in life. And of course, yes, we need to produce, but there's been so much focus on that in our society that everything else is suffering. And you're seeing that in the men that you're coaching. So the business parents, you're seeing that in your clients. So
Yeah.
what are some simple things that people can do to wake up to the reality that that's the life that they're living? That how do people even recognize that they're in trouble?
Most people don't. So what happens is most people find you and me, Doc, when they experience what?
Well, pain.
Pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So most people don't find me and Dr. Ed at Man of Iron until they feel what?
A lot of pain.
A lot of pain.
That's right.
Sucks, man. I mean, the reality of it is that most of us don't know that these things are going on. We assume our relationships are going well. Like we feel like we're doing okay with fulfillment, yet we're still sedating heavily on the weekends, or we're ignoring our family members because something else is more entertaining. We really don't notice these things until we experience pain. So this is what happens: is a lot of people will start to notice that they just keep grinding and grinding and grinding, and they start sedating and sedating and sedating, or we start to live this life of I just can't wait for the weekend to live.
Right.
We grind at work so that we can live on the weekend, or we need these holidays so that we can escape from the life that we've created. And I can do that. I started to hit a wall where I was like, I don't want to have to run away from my life. I want to be able to come in on Monday and have an awesome day. I want to be able to come in on Tuesday and have an awesome day. So, how do we realize these things? Usually it's pain, unless you have a way of measuring it. And it's really too complex to explain how we measure all of the different things. But essentially, there's got to be a KPI or key performance indicator for each of those areas of our life within our body, being, balance, and business. One of the easiest things that I can suggest to anyone, man, woman, any of us, is just to start to look at where your habits are.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your daily habits for your body? You have habits, whether you realize it or not. They may not be active habits, but they're habits. So if you look at how often you work out, what does your workout look like on a daily basis? Work out on a daily basis. What are you fueling yourself with? There's body. Being. How do you create fulfillment on a daily basis? I run a program called the King's Fuel, which is just a really simple program that teaches you how you, or each of us individually, define success. And you can use the words in there to constructively actualize fulfillment within your work, fulfillment at home, within your date, within your activities that you choose to do. So that's being. Balance. What are your daily habits for balance? If you have a relationship or if you have children, how do you connect with them on a daily basis?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be straight up with you. I would go and grind my arse off. I would come home and the last thing I wanted to do was entertain or
Mm,
look after or babysit. This is the language that I used to use. My own children.
mm,
I just wanted to get off of the horse and I needed some space. I needed a break. The last thing I wanted to do was see my children. Oh
mm.
my God.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would go on date nights with I actually got to a point where I constructively created date night. My wife and I would look at our phone. We'd do one of these, like, hey, back to our phone, ignoring each other.
Yeah.
There were times where I just couldn't wait to get home so that I could get loaded.
Yeah. Right.
Like, straight up.
So that's the wake up call right there. Recognize what you're doing to distract yourself. So if you're always turning to your phone, if like you just can't wait to get home to get drunk, or the weekend, or just the holiday, and then of course Monday mornings sucks. And so those are the signs that say, hey, look, my life is going the wrong direction. I need to take a turn.
Hey, it's not working.
Yeah.
But again, it's not working comes in different levels.
Hmm.
We talk about the frog in the frying pan or frog in the boiling pot of water.
Right.
How hot does the water need to get? And I recognize, like, I've got a serious tolerance to hot water. I can eat. Like, I need to be cooking a little bit before I make changes. And I realize this is a lot of men. We ignore our feelings.
Yes.
We don't meditate and listen to our voice. We don't do all these things because we've been taught to throw our feelings to the side and suck it up, buttercup, and go and rise and grind.
That's I want to laugh. I want the laughter out for a minute, because I'm laughing because I understand what you're talking about, because I see myself in your stories. I see myself how I used to be, and how I find myself if I'm not doing the day by day in personal investment, like you're mentioning, then everything's suffering. So, and this is, go ahead.
I was just going to say, everything doesn't necessarily mean that it suffers, but we just have to look at the habits that we keep. And
Hmm.
the problem is that even when I speak about having daily habits for your body, if you're not used to that, that feels overwhelming.
Right.
Right? But it could be a push-up. I don't care. The habits just need to get started so that you gain traction. Habits for connection with your wife or your partner or children. I leave sticky notes every morning.
Hmm.
Or I give them a kiss and have a quick conversation, or I leave something funny, or I shoot a little funny video. It doesn't mean that it's a massive project. Business.
Right.
I got listening to a podcast like this on your way to work in the morning, and then doing a quick Facebook post or something like that. The habits that we suggest, it sounds overwhelming because it's something new.
Hmm.
But without some level of habit traction, you don't see Olympic athletes start at running 4-minute miles.
Hmm.
They take baby steps in getting there. And I think that that's the piece that needs to be encouraged into each and every one of us.
Hmm.
Wake up every day and drip a little bit into the cup, a little bit more into the cup, a little bit more into the cup. And it's these daily little singles that start to move
Hmm.
guys around the bases. We all want the home run, Kev. We all want to be able to just knock it out of the park, and we want a marathon fire, and we want a business that's rocking, and we want, we want to be fulfilled to the max on a daily basis, and we want our body ripped and shredded, and we want to be fit, and we want to have it overnight, and we want to take it in the form of a pill, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
the reality that it comes from daily, consistent singles, knocking things around the bases, and it becomes so easy to get off focus without direction, without habit, without activities that fuel us, and without some level of accountability.
Hmm.
I'm
That's
the
a
first
critical.
to admit it.
I was going to say that's a critical piece, the accountability piece, and this is where, because you've shared it with others or you're invested into a group, this is where you start putting that daily investment in, and people are following up with you, people are checking in on you,
Yeah.
motivating you, and it's a special bond, it's a special relationship. Speak on some of the people that you've worked with that they had this vision of the banging business, everything home runs, the rock and bod, everything is working perfect. However, where they were and versus what their vision was, there was a big gap there. tell us about some of those struggles those gentlemen went through, those ladies went through. What did, and the time it took to get to those points?
Well, I think everybody's journey is so different,
Mm-hmm.
but the um, I think that the gap between where we are and where we want to be, it becomes so difficult to see the path in between those things that we stop and start and stop and start and stop and start, or we go at it so hard that we don't enjoy the path to get to where we want to go. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that I think I've seen with most of my clients and with patients even. I mean, you'll see this in your office too. People want you to treat them or adjust them, and they want 30 years of compressive damage that's been accrued in their body to be alleviated in a single treatment or a single adjustment or whatever it is that you're going to provide for them. That's what I'm seeing with a lot of my clients is just we have to change the frame from reactive, immediate response type things and start to be really, really target clear with where we are going, where we want to go, and then literally just set up our day, set up our week, set up our quarter in line with those things and be really consistent. But like I said, what I've noticed with most of my clients is a lot of them have unilateral focuses. Like, I take care of the kids and this is my job and I am on fire with my kids, but all these other things, not so much. Or my business is making $1.5 million, but I don't understand why my body is falling apart or why like I aren't I doing enough? Why is my marriage falling apart? Like, I cannot tell you how many times somebody comes to me and says, okay, I finally got business down, but everything else is falling apart. That's a very, very common one.
Okay. So if I could, excuse me for interrupting you, but what I'm hearing is we need to take the journey a bit slower, and we need to focus on all these components at once and drip it into our life. And we need to do it in a little bit more gentle way than the average person is doing it today. Does that sound about right?
I mean, if for those people that know me, I don't necessarily come across as gentle, Kevin. Um, but what happens is if you started out gently, if you started out with like bite-sized pieces, it's you know, you know, how does a snake eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So if you start creating the simple little habits, it creates a foundation
Mm-hmm.
that you can go and build upon.
That's right.
So no, I've got docs, and in fact, I've got a client here in Victoria. They're doing phenomenal jobs at all of these areas, and now they're going into leading these areas
Mm.
because they've been able to set a foundation within their body that's non-negotiable.
Mm.
They've been able to set a foundation within their family, non-negotiable date nights that are creative and constructive and feel like it's like you're in the middle of a new relationship.
Mm.
They create habits for themselves on a weekly basis that fill their cup back up because, God forbid, Kevin, the fact is that if you do not fill your cup up by the end of the week, you're no good to no one. You do not want to help. You don't have. You can want to serve as much as you want, but if you do not fill your cup up, the word selfish gets thrown in there so often. Oh, you're going to go do that again. Well, that's selfish. Well, do you want me to be full up and present, or do you want me to be exhausted and cranky?
Mm.
These are things that and I think that we're taught improperly. But it just becomes the foundation of basic habits, and then people can go and build massive castles on top of those foundations. But when the foundation is weak, when we assume there's a foundation, but there really isn't a strong foundation, the castle will topple every time.
So that's big. That's a big word that I've heard a couple of times. Is assume. So there's a lot of assumptions going on by people of their relationships. Just because they're in one, it's supposed to be an automatic given. Well, that's not. It's not truth, is it? Same with
No,
every. Yeah, yeah. So
no.
let's go back in time a little bit. You seem like, well, you got a good foundation. You're building your castles now, and you're helping others, and you've become the leader. You've made that transition. Some of the things, what got you started? What, there was the big wake up call, and then there was the water. You recognized the water was so hot, and then you took an action step. You decided something. Talk about that process if you could.
So I decided that again, my hot water got hot.
Yeah.
I was struggling with, just completely transparently. My wife and I were struggling. We were not communicating. I assumed everything was good, but it wasn't.
Mm.
I was definitely focused at work. My neck had fallen apart. I'd stopped self-care. I'd beaten myself up for years. I'd actually gone into triathlon, which was in my eye at the time a constructive way of creating fulfillment. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, I was overusing my body, and essentially I was running away from my pain. It was a form of sedation for me. So instead of just getting drunk, I would go and over exercise, just a different form of it.
Right.
I hit this pit, Kevin, where I felt like my marriage was falling apart. I felt like my body was falling apart. I was so unfulfilled. I was, I was asked by several people if I would consider taking medications for depression.
Wow. Wow.
It was at that point I was like that was my pain. That was my pain.
Wow. Well, I just want to say thank you for sharing that. That's a raw story. And I think there's so many people out there that can relate, that are experiencing so much of the same. And it's unfortunate. Well, I don't want to say it's unfortunate because it's obviously sprungboard you to a great place. And
Yeah.
when I met you and your wife, I none of that would have occurred to me think about that was your story. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful for me to hear and see the outcomes of someone who does drip that into their life, eat that elephant one bite at a time to create that phenomenal foundation. I just want to say thank you for sharing that. I know that's a personal and raw, real story.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, that's part of it too. I mean,
Yeah.
we ignore this stuff, and I think that if I can say anything, what you saw with my wife and I has been a lot of hard work, and we are in a tremendous place. I feel that way across every area of my life right now. It's a sense of control, but like you said, you and I were talking before we came on the air. I sent out an image on the Instagram and Facebook yesterday of the warrior uh,
Like
main
the wall
main
and yeah.
yeah, the wall. And I don't know if you guys appreciate this type of language on here, but do the effing work. That's it. And
That's right.
I don't know why or where it happens. It happens to a lot of us. We just start forgetting what the work is
Mm.
or what the work looks like in order to get what we want. I
That's
don't
a
know
very
where.
critical point. We get somehow our perceptions change to focus on a specific area, and that's what we hone in as we think that's what's the key to success. And what you're talking about is really the foundations of life, taking care of your body, taking care of your being, your balance, and the business. Those all four, they need to be there. And well, I know in different times of my life, I got focused 100% on work, where I'm spending 16 hours a day and nothing else is happening in my life at that point besides sleep and eating. And even that was, just stop and get some fast food or some bar food or something on the way home.
And you know what? We can do that for short periods of time,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's unsustainable. I mean, if your body isn't working, you can't work. If
That's right.
you're unfulfilled, you will burn stuff down. People will understand that. People feel when you are not lit on fire, or when you're incongruent with the message that you're preaching. When your relationships aren't going well, or if you're not putting time and energy into those light fires, they take you away from being constructive in the directions that you're trying to create. If one area is weak, it will always pull you back down. So there are times, Doc, when we need to go and grind. I mean, and we can grind in all areas if we want to, so long as, in my opinion, as long as it is constructive. Because one of the things that I've also witnessed is with people that have gone through the King's Fuel process that I do, you can constructively actualize your definition of success, and it will still be successful for you. But you can be very destructive in creating that.
Mm.
Like, for example, my definition of success is adventure, accomplishment, inclusion, and edge or adrenaline.
Mm.
Well, you don't have to be very creative to imagine how many different ways I can get adventure and edge put together.
Right.
So yeah, it's a process, my friend. And
Indeed.
I think
Indeed.
that one of the hardest pieces for me was that, like it's very logical to take care of your body. It's logical that fulfillment is important. It's logical that your relationships are important. It's logical that your business is important. But I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the framework to create success in those areas. And I think that as men, for some reason, we have a difficult time asking for help.
Right. Yes. I think this is a huge topic right now in our society. I know I'm having some other conversations with other professionals exactly about the same thing. And so I'm going to get towards the end here. And I want to ask, how can people connect with you? How do people get a hold of you, get connected to the Men of Iron, or any of the other things that you mentioned today?
Good question. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. Facebook's probably the easiest one. It's DrRyan, Dr. Ryan Doyle. That's probably one of the easiest ways.
Okay.
You can share my email with your listeners later if you'd like.
Yep.
Or the Men of Iron podcast. The
Mm.
Men of Iron podcast is the platform that I am respringing. It will be relaunching here soon. So Dr. Ed Osborne and I are co-producing that and putting on more content and more information for people that are just like you and me, man, that are just
Yeah.
trying to live our bestest, or in Larry's language, our goodest life.
That's right.
And I just encourage people to listen and learn. And if anything really resonates with you, reach out. I'm happy to provide some assistance and guidance.
Well, Doc, thank you so much for being here and informing us and helping us understand that there is this journey that we're going to be on. And if there's a lack of satisfaction in your life, if you're finding yourself, distracting yourself with technology or alcohol or even exercise, of course, now food, of course, these are signs that your body, your soul is wanting fulfillment. And this is a human. I think this is a human desire, a human need, just like being hugged and loved. These are things that help us be fruitful and like produce good things for ourselves and for others, our families and our friends. So, Doc, thank you so much for being here, and I'll be including all the contact information when I send these videos out. And anyone out there, I encourage you, there is hope. There is ways where you can develop a phenomenal life and a phenomenal existence. And I know personally, Dr. Ryan here has a lot of great answers that will be able to assist you on the path. So thank you again, Doc.
You're welcome, Doc. Thanks for having me. Bye for now.
Blessings.